Hello, angels. It's Rose the Reader. Welcome to my podcast, Rose Knows. If you are listening to me right now, that means you have found my podcast. And you know my saying, may those who need me seek to find me. And I'm so happy that you have found me. This podcast is going to bring us all so much closer together. Before I talk about anything else, let me explain to you all why I call you my angels, my angel squad. So ever since I was a young girl, I've always talked to my angels, kept them very close to my heart, and they've always protected over me. And since I've been doing my readings every day, you all have became my angels coming on in and letting me do my thing every single day. I'm grateful for you all. And plus, I always love to keep it light and fun, so that makes every post fun. This podcast is for me to share my story and to enlighten you all about the other side and to help any people who are experiencing the same things that I went through as a young child. And even if you don't have gifts, this is the perfect place for you. We're going to talk about everything healing, closure, and just going through that spiritual awakening. And growing up as a young girl, I always knew that I was very spiritually in tune. And the first person to ever notice that was my mom as well. And my mom is the number one person who brought me through my spiritual awakening. So I'm very grateful to have her in my life, bringing me on through.
Oh my gosh. Hello. I love you, Rose. Very proud of you. It's too early in the podcast to make me cry.
Well, that's enough, as I always say. But as a young girl, the other side came forward very strongly to me. And my first spiritual encounter, I remember, was on an Easter night as a very young girl. And I was woken up in the middle of the night, and in the living room, I tossed out and very confidently threw out the Easter bunny out of the house. I told my parents. And the next morning, I woke up and told both of them, and what I had described to them was most certainly not the Easter bunny. How old do you think I was during that story, Mom?
You were 4.
4 years old. So that was my first real spiritual encounter that I really picked up on. But as a young child, the other side always tried to try to come through in some way, shape, or form. So I moved my bedroom about 5 times as a young child. My brother and I switched bedrooms because I kept picking up and having the same spiritual dream and kept seeing the same figure in one bedroom. So we left my brother in there. He's all right, though. He turned out good. But my parents switched that bedroom back and forth.
Yeah, let's say it's definitely 5 times. Your poor dad. So you and your brother definitely played musical bedrooms, but you were not comfortable. I mean, you knew as a young girl that you did not like the energy in that one room.
And my parents always listened to me, which if you're a parent and your child, you feel has the same gifts like I do and being spiritually in tuned, always listening to them and what they say and bring forward. But also, as a young girl, a family member passed away that I wasn't too close with, but they passed away and came forward to me very strongly in a visitation after her departure. And I was about 10 years old, so 4th grade, and letting me know she was okay and wanting me to pass messages on forward. And my parents weren't surprised when I told them. My mom wasn't. She knew right then and there I was very spiritually in tuned into communicating with the other side. But things took a little bit of a twist when I was in 6th grade. That summer going into 6th grade, I had nightmares for a little bit because that whole 3 months of summer, I was very drawn to our basement, and I was seeing a lady in black in the basement bathroom for that whole 3-month period. And the first time she made herself known, I was getting out of the shower, and it was kind of like Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost. Like, who said that? Who is that? With Sam Wheat figuring out what was going on. But
you sat in our basement that entire summer. When we said, this is not your apartment, young lady. Come on back up to your bedroom.
I was very attached to the basement for some odd reason, but that figure went away after we learned the different ways to set boundaries, cleansing the negative out of the house or anything that was there, but she never harmed me or bugged me.
I think we all had a mutual agreement with her. Like, hey, we know you're here. We're not going to bother you.
You're not going to bother us.
You're not going to bother us. You do your thing, we do ours.
There have been plenty of other stories, I can tell you. Wait till another episode when we talk about my senior spring break spiritual encounter. Yeah, it's a good story of setting boundaries. But angels, everything for me really took off, and my spiritual awakening began strongly my freshman year of high school. So I was around 14, 15 years old, but my grandfather, Poppy, had passed away, and he really pulled me through my spiritual awakening. Like, here I am, let's get going. That's just how his energy was here, too.
Do you remember the first time you felt Poppy around you?
I do. When the first signs I picked up from my Poppy were I started shaking like crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why I was shaking. I realized and learned as time went on, his way of getting my attention was shaking because at the time of his departure, he had Parkinson's for years before. And that's how his body was shaking. But when he's like, Rose in a reading, listen to me, he'll shake my leg like crazy.
Yeah, we were close to making a doctor appointment for you at one point because we didn't know why you were shaking like that, and that was kind of crazy. Then you had a little talk with Pop, and you told him to what?
Kind of tone it down a little bit, tone it down. But when I realized he was coming forward so strongly, I tried to use that in my advantage with school a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
I did try to.
You can actually say this.
I did try to. And Angels, school was never my strong suit. If I knew I had access to these answers, I would have figured some things out beforehand.
When you raised your hand.
When I raised my hand. But I always thought they were going to come through forward with every answer, always good. So I was always a little more shy. Didn't always have the answers. I'm like, all right, Pop, you got the answer in history class? I raised my hand and answered a question, and the whole class was like, Rose, what? That had nothing to do with what we were talking about. So there's certain times I don't listen to my intuition, but
Chicken woman said there is Poppy laughing on the other side.
I heard the laugh after, but always follow yours. Angels. And in being in school as a young girl, my teachers, I don't even know if this is right what they would say, but not much really bothers me, so it's okay. But I always heard, and my parents always heard, Rose is just Rose. Rose is just Rose. Rosie's Rosie, whichever you want to call me.
Is Rosie okay? She seems a little distant right now. She seems a little, her head's in the clouds. Oh, Rosie's just Rose. Rose is Rosie. Little did we know that to every teacher out there that's wondering why Rosie was looking out the window, she now can honestly tell them what she was looking at.
It was probably looking at their past loved ones that I didn't know what was going on then. Yeah, I was looking out the window, scribbling. I go back to my automatic writing, which I want to save that for another episode too, talking about automatic writing. I used to scribble all the time just on my papers and always doing that, doodling, but everything always just comes together. But as a young girl, school was a very strong sign in knowing something else was going on. And I kept it very private all 18 years, I have to say, just about. Family didn't know. The only people who knew were the core four, my mom, my dad, and me and my brother, and Ice and Cash, our dogs at the times, but nobody knew. My grandparents, aunts, uncles. I kept it so private and personal because it was something so strong that I wanted to share it when I was ready to. And that time came in May of 2021. That time came for me to really share it and tell the world. So I had plans to go to Paul Mitchell right before I was graduating. And if anyone from Paul Mitchell, I don't think I've ever read anyone with that connection, but I'm sorry, my name probably there is ruined. They called me back so many times. And
I am so glad you did not enroll in Paul Mitchell.
And I mean that with all due respect, cosmetology is great, but it was what I wanted to do. So I was trying to figure out how am I going to become and be able to do readings walking out of high school. It didn't all make sense to me at the time, but I knew it was what I was meant to do. So I didn't call Paul Mitchell back. It was April of senior year. I didn't know what I was planning on doing, but I knew I was going to do readings. So I sat my parents down. And they said, all right, Rose, whatever you want to do, that's what your path is. They knew. And I was so blessed to have it kick off in the way I did and getting that response I did, because then everyone found out.
Yeah, locally, word of mouth got out and people were asking to see you and everybody was...
May, June, July was such a booked time for me then, and people finding out through word of mouth. And I was reading people who I knew and people, friends of friends, and that way.
And when you outed yourself, the text messages and the phone calls that your dad and I received,
such an amazing, overwhelming response.
I had no idea.
I was very lucky to have a few good friends throughout high school that even after our paths separated, they still never outed me or said, you know, Rosie sees the dead, Rose knows things that other people don't. No one ever went or betrayed my trust in that way or my loyalty. So that was always something that was really nice. And if anyone's listening, I appreciate that and still think about that all the time and me being able to share it when I was ready. But in May is when I shared that with everyone around. In high school, I graduated in June, and that was a really crazy time because I graduated Saturday, and that next Sunday, I worked a psychic event all day. I did the day after graduation, and then I turned 18 in July, and I was reading like crazy, doing my thing, and Charlie Langton approached me. We connected, and I was asked to go on Fox 2 in August 1st of last year, and that was so crazy. And really, I was so blessed with that response I got because I had a platform to show my gifts and to show that the healing and closure I can bring forward. And you all saw that and saw that little light there, which is all that mattered.
Yeah, with Fox 2 was definitely eye-opening for you, and I think all of us around us. It was amazing. Like you said, the response you got. Overwhelming. I remember us holding your phone when you were on set. As you were doing your set with Charlie and Marielle and Michael at the time, your phone blew up, and we didn't know what was going on. And in between takes, you walked off and you said, wait, this is for me?
I said, am I doing good?
Do you remember that? You said, am I doing good? We said, look at your phone. She goes, wait, this is for me? And then they said, oh no, honey, you crashed the Fox 2 phone lines.
I mean, my Facebook page following went up, which was just crazy to me because I was shooting hoops with my brother Noah the night before I went on out back, and he was like, if I make this one, it's going to go great. It's going to blow up. It's going to go great. He misses the basket, and he's like, yeah, good luck. And I'm like, no, what do you mean? He's like, you're not going to blow up. It's not going to work. And that's just Noah being Noah. But I got home, and I'm like, Noah, look at this. It went so phenomenal, and I was so happy that you guys just saw the true me being me, because there's no difference on there or in the office. And in October, Charlie called me out of nowhere during my regular work day in here and was like, Rose, I'll be here with the cameras in 10 minutes. I said, well, I have 2 hours worth of appointments next. We're going to have to wait. But he came and had me do the Michigan State prediction for the football game, and that went over well. Go green. So that went over good. And then I was on Mother's Day, which was so fun with Michael and Marielle and Charlie again. And they're always so much fun over there.
And you did a good job not giving Michael's secret away.
You can see my face. I looked back and looked at the clip when I'm put on the spot or right there. I'm like, there's not even really a delay. Like, don't say it, Rose. I saw that new opportunity coming, but best of everything to Michael. He deserves it. Yeah. And the most awesome crew is 99.5, Steve Grunwald and Rachel and Josh. I have so much fun over there. I was able to connect with them in such an awesome way and being able to get to know them and going on the radio station too, which gave me another side of angels that I didn't have before. Some country angels coming on in, which I love. So I have a little bit of mix of everyone around.
They are a fun crew to hang out with, and it was so nice. They invited you on a couple different times, and they're always a good time.
They're the best. I have the best time with them, laughing and just talking with them on air and off air. It's so much fun. But everything, I was so blessed with having that response, and all of you guys really amaze me so much and having everything going the way it does.
Do you have time to answer a few of the questions that people submitted for you?
I do. So let me open up my phone.
That was a really, really nice response that you got back on with that.
I got a good response, yeah.
Some really good questions came through.
All right, angels. Oh, you can hear me swiping. All right, so on my Facebook, one of my very close angels commented, do you experience anxiety with your gift? And that's a good question, and that's the 100% yes. I do experience anxiety with my gifts and with picking up and seeing the other side, but there's so many ways I allow myself and I'm able to cope with it using energy too. My healing stones and crystals I keep on my desk, like I tell you all, I don't keep them there for no reason, guys. They're doing something. All the rocks in there, protecting your energy. The clear quartz, tiger's eye, amethyst, they all set those boundaries. And meditating is where I found my true peace and joy and love, and being able to become really one with myself and clearing my mind. And it can be hard getting to that state, but when you do, it's worth it. All right, my mom's got a question coming on up.
All right, this is a really good one. This is actually really, really good. Are you ready for this one? I don't think I have any gifts, but I'm very aware of people's feelings and moods, and it makes me really uncomfortable at times.
So you do have gifts, actually. You are a true-blown empath, that would be. And I have that same ability as well when you connect with other people around you, their energy, and you absorb it. There's ways in setting boundaries, being able to set boundaries, and even shutting off those gifts if you want to. It takes a little bit of practice, but how do you separate everyday life and spirit communicating with you? And that's a good question because I learn more and more on ways to separate that each and every day as my gifts grow and as the other side communicates with me more. But when I go into large events like concerts, sporting events, I always sage myself before, keep my healing stones. I wear my healing bracelets, my jewelry, keeping my energy protected. And I always ask my spirit guides and my team up there to shut down my gifts as much as they can, because I always want to keep them on to help as many people as I can. But it can be overwhelming for me when I'm seeing every person and how they passed behind every person. It can be a lot. And another good question somebody asked was, have you ever been uncomfortable while reading someone or during a reading? And the answer is yes. There have been occasions where things have happened, or I always say energy doesn't lie. And when I'm going to my door, I can always feel how a reading's gonna go, and my spirit team will tell me. But there's only been a couple of times I've had a few negative experiences. But one that stood out to me was somebody came in and said, Rose, I want to do black magic. A Monday morning, my first appointment, I remember I turned my head and I'm like, oh my gosh, all right, I gotta handle this now. I'm like, all right, this is where our session ends, girlfriend. And like, you can get the Palo Santo, the sage, will sage any negative energy away from you. I'm like, that's why I don't accept anything until after a reading. But so quickly, energy doesn't lie, and only surrounding yourself around good energy. Angel Squad, this right here has been an amazing first podcast. I know this is going to sound as good as it does in my head when I get home and edit it tonight and post it, so I'm so excited. Hopefully when I leave the office it all sounds the same, because Angels, I had the best time doing this one for you guys. And I know we're going to have so much fun on this new journey together. So thank you all for supporting me and following me and giving me your guys' support and trusting me to always bring those messages for you from your loved ones on the other side. Rose knows always, and I got you guys forever. Remember, I'll grow with you always, just 19. And Angels, you can always make your appointment. If you follow me on Instagram, just tap the link in my bio. If you're on Facebook, just go to my Facebook page, Rose the Reader, and you can look it up right there. I love you all. Thank you so much. And we're signing off.
All right, nice job, Rose. Episode 1 is under your belt.
And episode 2 will be on the way soon. Don't you worry, Angels. Thank you so much.